Alright, y'all, let's talk about Summer Walker's new album. Y'all ready? It's lit.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B Kid. I'm back again with another review for y'all. On today's video, like I said, I'm going to be doing a review of Summer Walker's debut album, Over It. If you don't know Summer Walker by any chance, Summer Walker is a great artist I stumbled upon, I think early 2018 when I heard her song CPR. I remember when I first heard that song, I was like, yo, who is this chick? Like, I like her sound was just so like, it was so dope. It wasn't exactly like a fresh or like original or like, like forward thinking sound, but she really took the whole like vibey late night smoothed out, sexy trap R&B vibe, and I feel like she took it to like a new level. And I was like really attracted to the sound of her voice and like the way her tone sounds and how she just came through on records. It was so different, so swagged out, while still sounding like just like, hella feminine, like sexy and like chill at the same time. So I was just like, I was really into her as an artist. And so I started finding out more and more about her, and I found out I think she used to dance in Atlanta. So I always love someone that's from the South and that's just like a homegrown person. And then she also came out with the song Girls Need Love. That was amazing too. But y'all was sleeping on the song until Drake hopped on the remix, and then once Drake hopped on the remix, that song flew, which I'm very happy about, even though I prefer the original version better. Shout out to Drake, but I prefer the original version better. And then she put out her debut mixtape last day of summer, late last year, which I think I talked about in one of my drop episodes, so go check that out if you haven't already. And that was a really solid project with a lot of great songs on it, showing her great potential. And now we're finally here with her debut album, Over It, which she released on October 4th, 2019 on Love Renaissance and Endoscope Records. And she pretty much worked with a tight team of producers and songwriters on this album, kind of taking it back to how it used to be back in the day. But mainly the main producer on the album is London on the track. Great producer. We also have some other producers like Audrey Robinson, Rourke Bailey, Fallen, OG Parker, and Scott Storch on a few tracks as well. But mainly this album is mostly produced by London on the track. So yeah, man, I'm gonna do like I always do for all my reviews. I'm gonna do a little track by track review, and then I'll talk about my general thoughts at the end. But yeah, man, let's get it. Summer Walker, Over It, album review. Y'all ready? Let's go. Shout out to the baby. Alright, first up on the album is the title track called Over It. It's a dope ass vibey intro for the album that I feel like really just set the tone for the whole album. Off rip she starts us off with like a late night smooth like drive through the city type of track where she's just reflecting on all her man troubles, and pretty much just telling us off rip that she's over it and all the BS that she's been dealing with her men in her life and all that stuff. So off rip, this was a great intro for the album that really set the tone and set the vibe and really kind of let you know what the sonic vibe is going to be, and also like what this whole album is going to be about, which her just talking about being over all her BS with her dudes. So it was a great vibe intro for the album. Next up was the track Body, which she actually did say was her favorite track on the album, which I think is interesting. But yeah, I really like this track Body. I love the Get It Together sample. Y'all remember that song by 702? Just can we get it together? So I really feel like this song really used that sample well. It was a vibe. And I love the way she really used her voice on this song. I love the way her voice sounds on this track. It was just amazing. And I love I love how it has such a like a dope like throwback feel to it. It feels like a 90s track, but it still has like a fresh and modern feel to it that just makes it really good. So overall, I like this track. Body's dope. I love Body. Alright, y'all, next up is the track Playing Games, the extended version with Bryson Tiller. I've been loving this track ever since it came out back in August. It's the lead single for the album. Well, at least the lead single was the version without Bryson Tiller on it. I like this track. It's amazing. This is one of those rare tracks that I think that just gets better and better, like with more listens, and just gets vibbier and vibbier every time you hear it. Not a lot of tracks do that, but this is one of those rare tracks that just gets better and vibbier with more listens. So I love this track. And I like the way it was arranged. I feel like this is gonna be an anthem, for the ladies for a long time to come, and I'm cool with it. You know, also all my queens out there, you know, get y'all shit off to this banger. Get y'all shit off. You know, the dudes can rock out too because this song is a banger, but this is really for all the ladies out there. And really, honestly, this is for anybody who just feels like, you know, they dealing with somebody who's playing games with them. You know, this track is just talking about, listen, I want you to stop playing games with me. I want you to be straight up with me, be honest, you know, cut out all the extra stuff. I don't want, you know, I don't want flights to Paris, and I don't want all the shoes and bags. I just wanted you to be, you know, my man and be real with me. And, you know, so this is a good track that was written well. A lot of people gonna relate to this track. Yeah, and it's just a vibe. What else can I say? My only issue with this track is I feel like Bryson Tiller was a great feature for the track, and I feel like he fits the track so well. But because he was only on it for like, you know, for like 30 seconds towards the end, it felt like he didn't really need to be on it. It felt like it was kind of like an unnecessary and like cheap like way to kind of like promote the song as a single, because obviously he's gonna get a lot of love with, you know, Bryson Tiller's name on it, and also just his voice being on it. It's probably gonna help the track spread more, which I'm cool with. And like I said, I like him on the song, but I just felt like I wish he had been like more integrated into the track, and I wish he had more of a presence on the track. I feel like this could have been a really good like duet, but it felt like Bryson just came in at the end just to say, you know, just a croon for like 20 seconds and then be out. But it's like, nah, I wish he had been like more integrated into the track. But other than that, this is a great track, and definitely to me one of the highlights off the album. I love this track. Great track. Next up was the track Drunk Dialing, LODT. This track was cool. I really felt like this track felt so real. It really felt like Summer was just like singing like, you know, all the stuff that girls be feeling and saying to themselves when they in that type of situation, when they drunk down with somebody. So I feel like she really like broke it down like perfectly. It was really written well and performed well. I love the way she sang on it. And I'm glad she also brought out like the acoustic vibes for the second part of the song, because I love how like I feel like she really shines like, you know, on an acoustic sound, as you'll see throughout this album. So I really like that she brought it into the second part of this track, and the vibes are dope. And I love her tone on this track as well. I feel like I love her, like her vocals are dope. I love her like her smoky and like rich tone. It kind of reminds me a lot of Tiana Taylor and somewhat of Brandy a little bit. I love tones like that. They're just like low, smoky, rich, airy. Yeah, so I love her voice in this track. It definitely was a solid track. I like this track. You make me wanna come through, caught out to two, just to put it down on you. Hey! Yo, I love this track. Alright, on to the next track, Come Through with Usher. Definitely one of the highlights to me off this album. To me, this song should be a single, and it's a hit to me. I love this track. It sampled Usher's You Make Me Wanna, classic song from back in the day. That melody, that song still goes in. I love the way Summer Walker sampled the track. I love the way she like interpolated it into like a new version. Yeah, this is a sexy track that's talking about wanting that person to come through. The beat was such a vibe. This track just feels so good. It feels like how music used to feel, and maybe part of that is because it samples such a classic R&B record that still goes into today. But I still love what Summer did with this track. And yeah, man, I love the harmonies throughout this track. Her and Usher's harmonies were amazing. The vocals were just placed so well, and they were so intricate. I could tell they took the time with this track. And Usher killed it, man. Usher killed his little verse, and I love that. And also, I'm trying to figure out when was the last time I like seen an artist sample a song and also had that artist on the song too. Y'all remember? Like, have y'all seen that recent hit in memory? Like, let me know. I don't think I've seen that. I don't remember last time I saw that. So shout out to Summer Walker for getting a whole legend on her album. And not only did she sample this track, but he also sung a whole new verse that had vocals throughout it. And Usher killed it. He sounded amazing on this track. So to me, this is definitely one of the highlights of this album. Such a vibe. The song's a hit. I hope it becomes a single. I just love the melody, the way they sung it. Sexy. It's just, yeah, great track all around. I love Come Through. Let me know what y'all think about it, but I love this track. Alright, now onto the track that's gonna make a lot of dudes step their game up. Because they're gonna be like, damn, is she thinking this about me? I got potential, but I'm not doing enough. Now on to track 6, Potential. Great track. I feel like it was a good change of pace for the album sonically and vibe-wise. It kind of slowed things down. I love the melody on this track. I love like the stripped back feel of it. Just talking about how she's pretty much singing throughout the whole track about how the dude got potential, you know, and just how she's thinking about it, but she's not moving on it. So yeah, I love the feel of this track. I love the stripped back feel of it. I love how like low key and chill it was, and it just felt like a late night, like, you know, reflective ass, like, you know, anthem. And I love the synth throughout the whole song as well. feel. I don't want to do it, but I love the synth throughout the whole song. In the background it fitted perfectly, and it's just a smooth ass track, smooth as hell. And like I said, it's gonna have a lot of dudes think about how to set their game up. So it's a good track. Alright y'all, next up is the track Fun Girl. Apparently this is Drake's favorite song off the album, which I'm definitely not surprised by. I totally can see that. But yeah, man, this was definitely a highlight off the album and one of the most special tracks off the album. And I really feel like this is probably one of the most deepest tracks on the album in terms of kind of getting to who she is, and just also like in terms of just showcasing her talent as a writer and as a vocalist and as an artist. This is a really deep track for her, and a really nice change of pace on the album. I really would have loved for this track to have been like kind of produced out more, but I actually still did appreciate like the acoustic vibe of it, so I still mess with it because of that. And I still like how it had that raw essence of it. Like the recording was really raw and like unfiltered, but I wonder what this track would have been like if it had been like produced a little bit more. But like I still appreciate the raw acoustic vibe of it, because it was different, you know, and we don't get that a lot these days from young R&B female singers. So I appreciate the vibe on this track regardless. Crazy lyrics on this track, Fun Girl. Really dope, like, you know, deep introspective lyrics about, you know, her thoughts about, you know, who she is as a woman and how Duke could perceive her, and how she goes about, you know, just love and all that stuff. So really dope, deep track, great lyrics. And I really feel like it would have been cool to have had like one or two more tracks like this on the album that were kind of like just more like raw musically, but I still love this track regardless. So yeah, this is a great showcase of her talent, and definitely I think one of the musical highlights off the album. So Fun Girl was a cool track, definitely a cool track. Next up is the track Tonight, one of my favorite tracks off the album. This track is such a vibe. It feels like a hit straight up from the 90s. It feels like a genuine hit from the 90s. It's such a vibe. Shout out to London on the track on that beat. The beat bangs. I love the way she sung and the way she wrote it. The way it's arranged just feels like I said, this feels like a hit from the 90s. It's so good. The track is a whole vibe, and I definitely feel like it's a single worthy track. I feel like I would love to see this as a single. I know she can only have so many singles off this album, but I feel like this would definitely be worthy of single status. I love this track. One of my favorites off the album. When I first heard it, I was like, ooh, like I just love the vibe of this track. So I love Tonight, one of my favorite tracks off the album. Alright, next up we got the track Me. This is to me one of the most creative tracks on the album in terms of how she approached it lyrically and vocally. This is a really cool creative track, and I love the energy and delivery she had on this one. The flow, you know, the flow on her verses, and just the way she killed the hook, and also just like her energy and delivery on the track was just really cool and really swaggy and really vibey. And yeah, I just like how she arranged this track. I like how she said, "You can be my last love, last fuck." It's all around, man. This is a really dope track that I really like. It's a really good track. Next up, we got the track Like It with Black. Yo, hit. This song is a hit. I love this track. One of my favorites off the album. It was an instant highlight for me. I love this track. Man, this to me like could be a future single. I love this track. It's a hit. Like I said, it's a hit. Yo, Black went crazy on this track. He on his feature, I feel like he fit this track perfectly, and he did his thing like he always does on like every feature. I feel like Black's one of those artists who just kills every feature he does. But yeah, his feature on the track was crazy. He fit the vibe perfectly, and he did his thing. Summer came through and just killed the track as well with amazing vocals. Her vocals were like really pretty and airy, and just like it's just a vibe. And yeah, man, all around this is just a really great song, really feel good song that was just constructed well with a dope melody and a fire ass beat. Shout out to London on the track. I really love the melody and the beat on this song. It's just so classic to me. It feels so good. Yeah, man, great track all around. Definitely a highlight for me. One of my favorites off this track. And I love when someone said, "You like when I throw it back." Yo, mama, stop playing with me. Yo, someone knows how to use her voice, man. She's not playing with us. Mama said, "You like when I throw it back." What? Oh man, stop playing with me, someone. Stop playing with me. Alright, next up is the track Just Might. Just might be yo. So I really wasn't feeling this track at all when I first heard it. I wasn't feeling it, but on second listen I kind of got into it more. So I like it now. It wasn't my favorite track off the album, but it's still a vibe. This track is interesting, and I think it's a really creative track that just has like really like real ass lyrics that I think a lot of people are gonna feel, and I feel like it's gonna be an anthem for a lot of people, you know, male or female. It's gonna be an anthem for a lot of people who can relate to it, who just like feel the vibe and feel the lyrics of it. I like the way she arranged the song. It's a really cool, relatable track that's not like really it's like it's almost like she's not really judging herself or, you know, anybody who can relate, but just kind of like reflecting on how she feels, about the way she's like going through her life and like dealing with different people and stuff like that, and not really feeling content or happy in any situation, and kind of going from person to person, like. But it didn't really feel like judgmental. This felt like a real like reflective ass, like, you know, it just might be a hoe, but like, you know, all right, so what does that mean? What, you know, so I like how it felt. It didn't feel judgmental. It felt like, you know, just like, you know, getting you to think about what's going on in your life and how you feel about it. So this was a really cool track, really interesting. It wasn't my favorite beat on the album. I feel like the beat was kind of boring on this track, so it wasn't my favorite beat. I think that's probably why I wasn't really feeling it at first, but it's still a vibe, like I said. And Party Next Door, I know a lot of people have like been missing Party Next Door. Don't kill me, y'all, but I really have not been missing him like that. I feel like Party Next Door to me is as a person, I think is such a, like, he's a silent killer when it comes to writing. Or like background vocals. When it comes to like his own music, I'm like, I'm not pressed to hear his music again. I don't know. It's not like I don't dislike him, but I'm not pressed. So a lot of people are like, oh my god, Party Next Door, she brought up Party Next Door, but I was like, okay, I don't care. Like, and it kind of like Bryson Tiller, he only had like he only did a little thing on the track and then it was done. So I was like, I don't know. But yeah, this track was all around. It wasn't my favorite track on the album, wasn't my favorite beat, but it still was a vibe and I still rocked with it, so it was cool for what it was. Next up is the track Stretch You Out with A Boogie with the Hoodie. This is a cool track. It's the second single off the album. I've been loving the joint ever since it came out. I think it came out back in like September. To me, there's other like better single choices off the album, but this is still a great song, so I'm not mad that it's a single, but I feel like I would run with some other songs, but this is still a great song regardless. A Boogie was a great fit on the record. I feel like his vibe was perfect for and his voice was perfect for the record, and he definitely fit the track well. He did his thing. I love the staccato feel of like the hook. That made it, you know, that really gave it that 90s feel. You know, I'ma stretch you, I love that. So kind of brought back to how I used to back in the day when I feel like every song had like that staccato, you know, feel and like the hook. So I love how she brought it back to that time with the vibe on the track. So all around, this is a really solid track. Definitely a great a highlight of the album. It's a vibe. Her and A Boogie did the thing. Great track all around. Next up is the track Off of You, which was probably one of my favorite tracks off the album. This was definitely a highlight for me. It was a welcome change of pace for the album sonically, you know, bringing back those acoustic vibes like I was talking about earlier, and just kind of like had more of like a stripped back feel. And I love like her raw vocals on this track. The vocals on this track were amazing. Her tone and the harmonies were on 10. This is a great showcase of like her emotional and vocal delivery at her peak. Well, not at her peak, because, you know, she probably still has way more she can do, but this is just a great showcase of like her vocals and her emotional delivery on a track where she's just talking about like, listen, I'm off of you, I'm off of, like, I don't want this no more, I'm off of you. So this is a really cool track that I feel like could really be another future anthem for a lot of people. So definitely was a highlight for me. I love this track. Like I said, it could be a future anthem. It was written well, sung well, just feels good. One of my favorites off the album. I love this track. Next up is the track Anime. This is probably one of my least favorite tracks off the album. I wasn't really feeling this track. It had a cool concept, you know, obviously, you know, Eat the Cake Anime, I Can Tina Turner. I like the concept was cool. It wasn't like a terrible track, but this wasn't my favorite, and I think it's probably like, to me, it kind of felt like a filler track almost off the album. If I had to point out any type of track on something that was filler, I probably felt like it was Anime personally. So I wasn't feeling this track, but it still was a vibe. So it wasn't terrible, it still was a vibe. Next up is the track I'll Kill You featuring Jenny Aiko. So on paper, this looked like an amazing and dope collaboration, but I was worried about whether or not it would actually sound good and, you know, in our real life. But in our real life, they killed it and they both sounded good on the track, and I feel like it was a great collab. This type of vibe we've seen from Jenny Aiko and Summer Walker plenty of times, talking about how they done with the dude and they, you know, they gonna kill him and I'm done with you and you've done me wrong and I'm off you, all that type of stuff. So this vibe is a great vibe it's a great vibe for them to have came on track together for us. So I'm glad they came together for this type of track, and I feel like they both did a good job on the song. Yeah, they both sounded good together. It was a crazy title, I'll Kill You. Like, damn, crazy title, but it was a great track, and I feel like this is a good link up for female R&B in general. I feel like we need way more female R&B collaborations. I feel like it's not happening enough. It's happening, you know, it's been happening, but I want it to be more of a consistent thing. Because I feel like the industry just needs to see like black women not even black women, just women of color and R&B really, you know, standing together and collabing, you know, all the time. I feel like we need that in the industry. So this is a great track. I know it's definitely gonna be a track that's gonna have a lot of women in their bag, and that's cool. Yeah, man, good track all around, solid track. And Jhené Aiko sounded good on it, and I loved her swag on it too. So good track. Next up is the track Nobody Else. This is definitely one of my favorite tracks off the album as well. This is a highlight. This track is so breezy and such a vibe. Shout out to London on the track on this crazy beat. The beat is like, it's like a little bit off kilter, but it just rides and it knocks. The beat's crazy. It's such a smooth late night vibe. I love her voice on this track. Man, her vocals on this track were crazy. Her vocals reminded me of Brandy. I loved her smoky like alto and the smooth harmony throughout the whole track, and also like her breezy and sexy runs too. Like, you know, just her vocals on the track were just insane. She did her thing. She sung the hell of this song, and yeah, it's just a dope vibey track. A great way to kind of like start ending the album off. And I love this track because it also is this track is for the fellas too, so all my kings can get their shit off, you know what I'm saying? These tracks people was talking about, listen, I can't mess with nobody else but you, I don't want nobody else but you. So this is gonna be a good track for the fellas too. You know, we get some love on the album too, even though she's over all of it, you know, she's over all the dudes in her life. I like that she still had a track that's like listen, you know, even through all the BS, at the end of the day, I don't want nobody else but you. I can't, you know, I'm trying to be with you. So I like that she still brought it, you know, full circle with this track. And like I said, this is for my kings to get their shit off and to, you know, to be in their, you know, to get in their bag. So yeah, this is a cool track, one of my favorites off the album. I love the vibe on it. The production was dope. The vocals are dope. It's just all around, it's just a really good quality R&B track. So amazing. And lastly, we got the Girls Need Love remix after the solo version of Playing Games. Like I said before, I like the solo version of Girls Need Love more than the remix to Drake. But shout out to Drake. I'm glad he gave her that exposure. He gave her that love. And at least Summer Walker can I say she has an Usher and Drake feature on her debut album. So that's amazing. So shout out to Summer Walker for that. I'm glad she put on the album because it's pretty much her biggest hit so far in her career. So I'm glad she put it on her album. And yeah, man, Girls Need Love, that track still goes. So shout out to Summer Walker. Alright, y'all, so now for my general thoughts on this album. All in all, y'all, I think this is a solid debut album from Summer Walker. I think this is going to be an album, I think this is going to be a go-to album for smooth and sexy late night R&B bangers for a long time to come, for years to come. So shout out to Summer Walker for that. One of my favorite parts about this album was definitely like the 90s and like early 2000s feel of this album. I loved all the 90s samples. There were some clear ones and actual samples of songs, and just throughout the whole record there were like just arrangements and just like you know, lyrics that just felt like how songs used to be created back in the day. So I really like how she harkened back to that era, and even down to the ad she put out to promote the album. That shit was legendary. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. But she created like an ad that looked like those like 90s infomercials to promote the album. It was really creative and really different. I really liked it. So even down to that shit, and if you look at the album cover, like the whole, like, you know, whole pink room with like the old school phone, like this whole album, it's like Summer Walker like literally transport the 90s into 2019 with this album, like vocally, sonically, like aesthetically, like everything about this whole project just feels like a 90s R&B, a classic 90s R&B album, and I love it because y'all know I'm a 90s baby, and I love that whole era of music, especially when it comes to R&B. So I feel like she really brought those vibes back, and not a corny or like try hard way, but in a genuine authentic way that feels true to her, you know what I'm saying? And she still did it while kind of still making everything still sound fresh and still modern at the same time. So that's not easy to do, and she did it definitely. She definitely did a great job doing that. So yeah, man, go check out that ad she had for the album. It's such a cool way to promote the album, and yeah, I just love the whole 90s vibe she gave us on this project. Yeah, all in all, this was just a really feminine, sexy, and vibey project that really didn't demand too much from the listener to get caught up in the mood of it and to get caught up in the vibe of it. Even if you're not a woman going through, you know, man problems, or even if you're not like in that state of mind where you're like feeling like you're just over relationships and over love and over life, like even if you're not in that state of mind, it still didn't take much for you to be able to just kind of like get lost in the vibe of this album and feel like, you know, you could you can still feel what Summer Walker's feeling through these songs. So that's not easy to do, and I think she did a great job of doing that, you know. I also gotta commend Summer Walker for her amazing light and sultry and also like, you know, husky and smoky vocal tone. And her crazy vocal ability that really, like, you know, recalls a lot of the, you know, R&B female voices of yesteryear when R&B was running the game, you know, with a lot of amazing vocalists back to back to back, and also just for also creating a true like sound and like an original sound with this album with her team of producers and songwriters. And also because of that, I feel like that's what also made this album feel like a classic, like 90s, early 2000s R&B album, was because of the tight, you know, creative team. She was working like the same, like, you know, 3, 4, 5 producers, mainly London on the track with some supporting producers, and the same team of songwriters. And because of that, I feel like it just felt like how albums used to be back in the day, when you had like the main producer for working with the artist and, you know, the same set of songwriters working to really create a whole world and really creating a sound with the artist on that album. And I feel like Summer Walker and her team really did that on this project, so that's amazing. It's not, and I feel like it's not happening no more, because every artist is having like 50 different producers on their album and 200 different writers, and it'll like, you know, for the most part those albums will still sound good, but they often sound disjointed. But this album doesn't feel disjointed at all. It feels so consistent. And yeah, it just reminds me of how it used to be back in the day, when an artist would have like that main producer, they would kill it, the album would be so consistent and you could just like let it play from start to finish, and artists didn't really do a lot to really promote their records. They would just make the record, make it hot, and then, you know, drop it and let it spread because it was of quality, you know. And I feel like that's what's happening with this album. This album didn't really have a lot of promo before it came out, but it's spreading like wildfire because of how good it is, and just because of how like genuine I feel like the music comes across, and how authentic and real this music is, and how because of how much of a vibe it is, you know. So all in all, great job. Now talking about my critiques of the album, if I were to come up with some downsides to this project, kind of talk about what I just talked about before with how uniform and sound this album is. At the end of the day, there was definitely a lack of variety in production and vibe, and like also like styling of all these songs. There's definitely a lack of variety in that. And at the end of the day, to me, it wasn't a big deal, because like I said, I appreciate how she kind of threw it back to a different time when that was the normal. So I definitely respect it, because albums like this are very rare these days, so I definitely appreciate it. But at the same time, because of the lack of variety in production and like vocal styles, and just like the lack of variety in like vibes and the way songs were arranged and produced on this album, I feel like it was somewhat of a missed opportunity to really showcase more of what Summer Walker can do, and more of what she's capable of, you know. It's not a big critique for me, because like I said, this whole album is a vibe, but I felt like if you're someone who's new to Summer Walker, or if you're someone that is thinking about whether or not you want to be a fan, this music is great, but I could definitely see somebody being like, you know what, like this music is cool, but what else can she do? I'm not sold just yet. So I know for a fact that Summer Walker could be a great artist, but I feel like with this being her debut project and being like her first major project, I feel like her and her team kind of did miss opportunities to really, you know, let potential fans know more of what she can do outside of this late night vibey London on the Track produced, you know, like, you know, F-men vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I wish she kind of gave us more variety, and also like, you know, song topics, you know, just to kind of like pull in more people who could be doubtful of her talent. But like I said, it's not a big deal, because I know she's amazing, and I feel like this album is just the tip of the iceberg as to what she can do for the future. But I feel like it would have been good to get some like, you know, some little like, you know, hints and peeks into what else she can do besides her acoustic stuff, which she did showcase on the album. But I feel like it would have been cool to have her team come up with like 1 or 2 or 3 more songs that just had a different type of vibe, to show what else she can do, you know. But in due time, hopefully that'll settle itself. So it's not a big deal. So another downside to this album that I thought about was the fact that I feel like this album maybe doesn't exactly do the best job of painting like a full picture of like who Summer Walker really is at, you know, at her deepest human level, and like just who as a woman, what she's really about, and like what she really, like, you know what I'm saying, like who she really is as a woman. I feel like this album didn't really paint a full picture of that outside of, you know, how she feels about her man problems, you know what I'm saying? So outside of that, it's like, Summer Walker, what else are you about? So I feel like that's another downside to this album. But then again, this is her debut album, and it's cool because at the end of the day, as long as she's willing to, you know, really put in the work and stay consistent, but also be willing to grow, I definitely think she has plenty of time to show that she can be a future legend, and she can definitely grow into that if she's willing to be, because she definitely has the talent and the vibe to back it up. But I want her to really start showing people who she really is as a woman, outside of, you know, saying, you know, f that dude and I'm over my life and I'm over a man and all that. Like, who outside of that, like, who are you really? So I feel like your debut album is a great chance to really get people to really get into who you are. But, you know, if she will have a healthy career, which I think she will, she'll have plenty of time to do that. But kind of like what I was saying before, I think it was a missed opportunity to really showcase who she really is as a woman on the debut album. But not a big critique, because you know, the music is fire, but it is something I did notice. But at the end of the day, man, she really did kill the consistent sonic and, you know, vibe and aesthetic that she was going for on this album. Shout out to London on the Track and all her producers and song artists for really creating a world. They did a good job with it. And also, last point for this album, I'm kind of confused. I'm low-key confused as to why all of a sudden she's getting so much love. I think she's projected to debut at #1 on the 200 this coming week, and I think she's gonna sell like 100 or like over 100,000 units, which is like crazy to me, because I feel like this time last year, no one even like really knew who the hell she was, outside of, you know, the few fans she had for Girls Need Love and CPR, like me. So, you know, y'all paid her last day of summer mixtape Dust. Y'all paid the Claire EP, which came out in January, Dust. But all of a sudden, you know, she got a Drake feature, and all of a sudden she about to have a #1 album. So it's like, I'm confused as to how she got all this love all of a sudden. But I'm happy for her because she deserves it, and I'm happy y'all stop sleeping on her because she's dope. And yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to her career. I'm looking forward to seeing where she goes from here, because this album is solid. So I'm looking forward to seeing where she goes from here. And I guess I'm just happy for her. She deserves all the success that will be coming to her, and I just love seeing this type of success for an R&B artist. I love seeing it, because we need more R&B artists to be going to #1 and be killing the game, like really have a widespread net of people who are just like, you know, supporting them. We need more of that. So I love seeing Summer in this position right now, where she's really about to have a #1 album out of nowhere, with good material, with really good material. So I'm happy for her, and as an R&B head, I'm happy that, you know, R&B is is in this space right now, where I feel like we're seeing a new artist come out of nowhere and get a #1 project with good music. That hasn't really happened in a long time. So I'm hella happy for Summer Walker, and as an R&B fan, I'm definitely content. So that's pretty much my final thoughts on the album, guys. But alright, y'all, so I'm about to end this off, but if I had to pick my favorite tracks on the album, even though almost every track is a vibe besides Anime, I'd probably pick Playing Games, definitely my favorite tracks off this album. The solo version or the version by Untitled, either one. Come Through, definitely. Fun Girl, Tonight, love that track. Like It with Black, love that track. And also Off of You and Nobody Else. Those are probably my favorite tracks off the album. But like I said, almost every track is amazing in its own different way. And if I had to give my rating for this album, I was kind of going back and forth between a 3.5 and a 4. But I think I'm gonna stick with the 4 out of 5 for this album. This album is hella solid, hella consistent. It's vibey from start to finish. It's pretty much almost no skips. So for that, I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 5. But let me know what y'all would give it down below. Alright, y'all, so that's my review for Summer Walker's new album, Over It. Let me know what y'all think about the album. Let me know if y'all hated it, which I hope you didn't. Let me know if you thought it was alright. Let me know if you thought it was amazing. And let me know what you thought about all my thoughts about the album and all that and more down below, okay? Appreciate y'all. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Do all that and more, okay? And like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song, make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. Alright, y'all, but this has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thank you for watching, but for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just have fun.